The desert wind blew softly over cracked earth. The sky was orange, and the sun was sinking low behind the mountains. A tribe of humans sat near a small fire. Their clothes were made of animal skins. They cooked simple food, sang quiet songs, and told old stories. From a distance they looked like ancient people, slow, weak, and harmless, but something watched them from above. A small alien drone hovered in the sky, invisible to human eyes. It scanned their bodies, tools, and fire. It took pictures and sent data back to its ship in orbit. Inside the command ship of the Threxan Empire, Commander Yiltek laughed. "Pathetic," he said, showing the images on a large screen. "These are the humans? These animals?" His officers laughed too. They had expected more. After all, long ago, humans were feared across the stars. But the Empire had attacked Earth over 200 years ago. Cities burned. Satellites fell. Most humans died. Those who lived went silent. The galaxy believed humans were extinct. Until this signal came from a forgotten planet Earth itself. The signal was weak, like a whisper. But it was enough to wake the curiosity of the Empire. Yiltek leaned forward, staring at the images. They hunt with spears. They cook meat on open flame, primitive, no technology, no power. Just scared animals. An officer next to him nodded. "We should take a few for testing." "Not yet," Yiltek said. "Let them live a little longer. I want to watch." Down on the ground, the tribe elder stood alone under the stars. His name was Tareen. His skin was dark from sun and wind. His eyes full of wisdom. He had lived many years, and he remembered things the others didn't. Things that came in dreams. Machines, buildings of steel. Voices in the sky. He looked at the stars and whispered, "They have returned." Behind the tribe, hidden under the sand, was a giant stone flat, circular, and cold. No one in the tribe touched it. No one dared to speak of it. But Tareen had. Seen it in visions. That night, when all slept, Tareen walked alone to the stone. The wind blew harder, and the air felt strange. He dropped to one knee and placed his hand on the surface. At first, nothing happened. Then, a low hum. The ground trembled slightly. A glowing light appeared under the dust. Lines lit up in blue and white. The stone began to shift. Above in orbit, the drone watching the tribe beeped. It had detected energy. Strange energy. On the command ship, red lights flashed. "Sir!" shouted the officer. "We have movement underground." "Commander." Yiltek stood up. "What?" "A power source, ancient, far below the sand. It's activating." "Impossible," Yiltek said. "They're primitives." The officer shook his head. "This isn't tribal tech. This is pre-fall human tech, and it's waking up." Under the desert, the stone opened like a flower. Inside, lights came on after 200 years of silence. Machines started humming, spinning, scanning. One screen blinked. "Reboot complete. Welcome, human." Tareen stared in silence. A soft voice spoke inside his head. "Are you ready, Guardian?" He didn't answer. He just stepped forward. Inside the chamber, walls were lined with silver panels. Strange symbols floated in the air. At the center stood a tall, black pillar covered in lights. The machine had waited for this day. Back in orbit, the Empire's ship began sending more drones. But it was already too late. The next morning, the tribe awoke to a strange sky. Thunder rolled with no clouds. The sand felt warm, as if something below was alive. A boy ran to Tareen and said, "Elder, the ground is singing." Tareen smiled but said nothing. That evening, a glowing beam shot into the sky from beneath the sand. Blue and gold, it reached past the clouds. Commander Yiltek saw it from orbit. "What are they doing down there?" He growled. The officer answered, "It's not them. It's their machines. Something old is returning." On the third day, a second tribe arrived. Their leader was a young woman named Kale. She had sharp eyes, a scar on her face, and a calm voice. Her people also remembered the old stories. Kale walked up to Tareen. "You touched it," she said. "Yes." "It spoke to you?" Tareen nodded. "It said, 'We are not finished.'" Kale looked at the beam in the sky. "Then we must prepare." "They're watching. They already mock us," Tareen replied. "They think we are weak. They will learn." Above them, the Threxan Empire watched with growing fear. "Begin the extraction," Yiltik ordered. "Bring some of them aboard. I want to study them. I want to know how they activated this tech." A dropship launched from orbit. It broke the clouds and descended fast, but the beam from the ground twisted like it was alive. It turned toward the dropship. "Sir," the pilot screamed. "The beam, it's tracking us." Before he could react, the dropship turned red hot and exploded in mid-air. Silence on the command deck. Commander Yiltak's hands tightened. "They have weapons?" "No, sir," the officer said slowly. "The machine itself, it defends them." Later that night, Kale walked into the chamber. With Tareen, the black pillar had changed. It now glowed brighter. Symbols floated above it, maps, coordinates, data from the past. Kale stared at it. "Is this what remains of the old world?" Tareen replied. "No, this is only the key." "To what?" "To everything we lost." Far above, in a dark part of space, a silent beacon turned on. It had not sent a signal in 200 years, but now it blinked red. It called out to something ancient, something hidden. On a far-off moon, a massive ship buried under ice woke up. Inside, a human skeleton sat in the pilot's chair. The ship's eye lit up and said, "Signal received. Humanity has returned." Back on Earth, more tribes began to gather. People from mountains, forests, and distant valleys. They came with fire in their eyes. For the first time in generations, they felt something powerful, hope. Kale stood before them. "The stars forgot us. The galaxy thinks we are dead." "But they are wrong," Tareen added. "They will remember us. Not as slaves, not as primitives, but as something greater." The ground rumbled. More chambers opened across the desert. Lights, shields, weapons, armor, knowledge. Humans were waking up. Not just in body, but in memory. The Empire had made a mistake. They had watched too long, laughed too soon. Now the gods were returning. The desert night was quiet, but the stars above were not. Dozens of alien drones circled the planet now, their red eyes watching from high above. Every move, every whisper, every firelight from the human tribes was recorded. The Threxan Empire was no longer laughing. Commander Yiltik stood on the bridge of his warship. His face, usually calm, was now full of anger. "They were supposed to be extinct," he said coldly. "I want answers." One of his officers replied nervously, "We lost the dropship." "And there's more. Speak." "The energy signature. From the ground, it's spreading. We think they've opened more underground vaults. Old human tech pre-fall systems, maybe weapons." Yiltik growled. "Then we attack before it's too late." On Earth, deep under the sand, the chamber was no longer quiet. The black pillar in the center pulsed like a beating heart. Floating. Around it were holograms of stars, planets, and data. The air smelled of ozone, and the floor hummed with power. Kale stood before it. Her hands trembled slightly, but her eyes stayed sharp. A voice spoke from the pillar again, soft and clear. "Biometric match confirmed. Kale of Earth. Access granted." She stepped forward. Symbols appeared in the air in front of her. Tareen stood beside her. "It's choosing you." Kale whispered, "It's not just tech, it's alive." "No," Tareen said. "It's more. It's memory. It holds what we were, what we can become again." Kale placed her hand on the interface. Instantly, her body stiffened. Her mind was filled with flashes, ships flying through black space, Humans walking in bright metal halls. Stars exploding, voices shouting, fire raining from the sky. Then, silence. Kale opened her eyes. I remember, she whispered outside. The tribes were preparing. They didn't fully understand what was happening, but they felt the change. People who once hunted with sticks now carried glowing spears. Their skin armor had metal woven into it. Their eyes looked to the sky, not in fear, but with challenge. A boy named Joran, only 12, asked his mother, "Are we becoming the old ones again?" His mother replied, "No, we are becoming something new." In the sky, fire fell. The Threxan Empire had sent more ships, 3 cruisers, 1 battle barge. They came fast, roaring into Earth's atmosphere with flames trailing behind them. The people looked up. Kale stepped outside the chamber and stared at the sky. "They're coming," she said. Tarin nodded. "Let them." Inside the black pillar, a new command activated. Defense protocol enabled. AI Guardian engaged, preparing for retaliation. Near the desert edge, a mountain exploded. From the dust rose a massive object. At first, it looked like rock, but then it began to change smooth. Black panels unfolded, blue lights flickered on, and 4 legs slammed into the earth. It was a walker. Old human military tech. A war machine. The Threxan cruisers approached. Inside the lead cruiser, Captain Vrex watched the ground with suspicion. Commander Yiltik said these people were weak, he muttered. "I see no weakness." Suddenly, a beam of blue light shot from the walker. It sliced through the air, and the second cruiser exploded instantly, breaking in half mid-sky. At. Captain Vrex screamed, "Evasive, evasive." Too late. Another beam fired. This one missed but struck the desert, sending a wave of energy that knocked over trees and shattered rocks. The battle barge returned fire, sending plasma missiles toward the surface. But the walker raised a glowing shield. Transparent, hexagon-shaped plates blocked the blast like it was nothing. Back on the ground, Kale turned to the crowd. "They will keep coming. We must prepare the others." "Others?" asked Joren. Kale pointed to the horizon. "The old world left many gifts. We just have to wake them." In the northern hills, another chamber opened. This one was different, colder, deeper, darker. Inside it, a woman named Mira stood in front of a round device. She had never seen machines before, but somehow her hands knew what to do. She pressed. 3 glowing buttons. The ground shook. From beneath, a black tower rose into the sky. It looked like a giant spear, pointing upward. The pillar spoke. "Skyland system online. Orbit lock engaged. Target acquired." High above, the last Threxan cruiser tried to escape, but a streak of silver light shot up from the Skyland's tower. Cruiser didn't even have time to scream. It vanished in a burst of white energy. In orbit, Commander Yiltek saw the signal vanish from his screen. "Gone," whispered the officer. 3 ships gone. "They're not human," Yiltek said. "They're monsters." But on Earth, the people were not monsters. They were scared, yes, but now they were united. For the first time in 200 years, the tribes were one people again. They gathered around the ancient chambers. They listened to Kale and Tarin. They touched the glowing stones. The machine spoke to them, not in fear, but as friends. Joran stepped forward and placed his hand on a panel. It scanned him. Child user accepted. Beginning training protocol. A small drone floated out and hovered beside him. "Teach me," Joran whispered. Days passed. More chambers opened. More weapons awoke. More minds remembered. Kale trained in a suit of light armor. Her strength grew. Her mind expanded. The more she connected with the pillar, the more she saw visions of the old world, Earth before the fall, and the war that ended it. Tarin sat in silence, reading ancient texts now displayed on walls of light. "It wasn't just the Threxans," he said quietly. "What?" Kale asked. "The fall of Earth. It wasn't only from them. We Destroyed ourselves first. Kale looked at him. Why? Tarin answered. Because we had power. Too much. We feared what we might become, so we shut it down, buried it, burned it, and waited. Kale's eyes narrowed. And now we awaken it again. Yes, Tarin said. Because we must. Back in space, the Threxan fleet was in chaos. Messages flew across systems. Other alien races began to listen. The Shikar heard of Earth's return. The Morlans watched the human weapons reappear. The Droxer, who once traded with Earth, sent a quiet message. Do not make war with them again. You will not survive. But Commander Yultek didn't care. He gathered more ships, 10, then 20. He shouted, they're just pretending. They're using leftover junk. They're still animals. But in his heart, he was not sure. He remembered what his ancestors said, if humanity ever returns, run. On Earth, the sky turned silver. Kale climbed the mountain with Tarin. They stood at the edge and looked at the clouds below them. Machines walked again. People flew using old human wingsuits. Children trained with floating eye drones. A storm was coming. Kale turned to the people and raised her voice. They came here to mock us, to study us, to call us primitive. But we are more than they remember. We are not the past. We are the future. Tarin added, they will not destroy us again. Not this time. Kale said one last thing. Let them come. We will greet them not with fear, but with fire. And high above, in deep space, an ancient human satellite, once thought dead, lit up again. It sent a signal across the stars. A signal in an old human language, Earth Defense Network Online. Awaiting command. The stars above Earth looked calm, but war was coming. The Threxan Empire had sent its largest force yet. 20 ships, 2 dreadnoughts, and the Oblivion Carrier, their most powerful warship. Inside the command deck, Commander Yultek stood. Silent, his claws tapped on the metal rail. Tell me, he said, how are they resisting us? The science officer answered with fear in his voice. Old human machines, AI defense towers, orbital weapons, they are learning fast. Yultek's eyes burned red. They are primitives. They should not even know how to activate those things. Commander, said another officer, we just lost contact with Fleet 3. No signals, no survivors. Silence fell. Yultek turned and said coldly, then we will burn Earth to ash. No more mistakes. On Earth, the tribes stood ready. What once were scattered families now marched as one people. Men and women wore armor that glowed faintly with ancient power. Children trained beside drones, learning fast. Machines walked beside humans. Skies were no longer empty. Patrol crafts now flew over the mountains and valleys. Kale stood at the command platform built above the old chamber. It had been changed now, polished and lit with ancient energy. A full battle interface hovered. Before her, Tarin stepped beside her. The fleet is almost here. Kale looked up. How many? Too many. She did not blink. Then we give them a welcome. In the eastern canyon, the second chamber opened. Inside, a new machine came. Online, it was called the Sentinel. Tall as a building, shaped like a beast. With eyes that scanned the stars. It spoke for the first time in 2 centuries. Target species detected. Threxan fleet, engaging countermeasures. The sky cracked open as the enemy arrived. Massive ships broke through the clouds, shaking the ground with their engines. Lights flashed. The first attack began. Plasma bombs dropped toward the surface. Kale gave the order. Activate shields. From hidden towers across the deserts, blue barriers rose into the sky. The plasma bombs struck, but they bounced off. Children watched in awe. They had never seen war, but now they saw Hope. Joren stood near the edge of a bunker, gripping a glowing spear. Are they really gods? He asked. His older brother replied, no, they're just humans who remembered who they are. Inside the main vault, a new system activated. A giant map of the solar system appeared, showing red dots, enemy ships. One dot turned black. Kale smiled. The Skylance struck again. In space, panic spread across the Threxan fleet. One of the dreadnoughts exploded after being hit from below. No warning, no defense. Just light and fire. Yiltak's voice roared across the command deck. Find the source. Destroy it. But they couldn't find it. Earth had become a trap. On the surface, a new leader arrived. She was tall, calm, and wore an ancient battlesuit with gold lines. Her name was Commander Alira, one of the last survivors from the first fall, kept in cryo-sleep deep under ice. The machines had awakened her when Kale touched the pillar. Kale bowed slightly. You were there. Before the end. Alira nodded. I fought in the old wars. I saw Earth fall. But I also saw what we left behind. What did we leave? Kale asked. Justice, Alira said. And fire. The humans called this fight the Second Rising. It was not just survival. It was revenge. At night, the ground shook as humans launched their first real counterattack. 5 sleek crafts, shaped like arrows, shot into the sky. They were old-world starfighters, fast, deadly, silent. Each was flown by a new pilot, trained in the simulators inside the old vaults. One of them was Kale herself. She wore a helmet shaped with ancient code. Her voice echoed through the comms. Strike. Fast, strike hard, no mercy. They flew straight into the heart of the Threxan fleet. Inside the Oblivion carrier, alarms rang. Unknown ships approaching. Yiltak turned to the screen. Destroy them. Turrets spun. Missiles fired, but the human ships moved like shadows. One zipped between 2 dreadnoughts and dropped a gravity pulse. Both ships spun out of control, hitting each other. Kale's fighter launched a plasma spear. It pierced the shield of the enemy battleship like paper. She spoke into the comms. You wanted a war. Now you have it. Back on Earth, the tribes cheered as stars lit up with explosions. Children laughed. Elders wept. Tarin stood on the high rock, watching. They forgot us, he said, but now they remember. The Threxan fleet lost 5 ships in the first wave. They tried to retreat, but space mines, long hidden by old Earth satellites, activated. Yiltak stared in horror. It was all planned. Even their silence was a trap. He slammed his fist on the console. Send in the Hunter Legion. From the carrier's belly dropped the black pods. Each one held a warrior, tall, armored, cruel. The Threxan Hunter Legion. Elite assassins, trained to kill from shadows. They landed across Earth's surface like falling stars out in the jungle. Mira, the woman who activated the Skylance, faced one of them. The hunter moved fast, using cloaking, but Mira had the drone. It whispered. Hostile detected. Pattern match. Counterstrike ready. As the hunter leapt from behind, the drone fired a pulse. The hunter screamed, armor cracking, and fell dead. In the mountains, a whole village came under attack. But this time, the villagers didn't run. They fought. Old swords powered by light. Armor that healed. Children who threw mini shock grenades, taught by their eye tutors. By morning, the hunters were gone. Kale and Alira stood above a hill, looking at the battlefield. Alira said, You've done what we never could. You united the broken. Kale replied, They made us forget who we were, but now we remember. The last light of day faded. In space, only 7 Threxan ships remained. Yiltak was silent now. His pride was gone. His hands shook. An officer whispered, Sir, they're not primitives, they're gods. Yiltak turned slowly. No, worse, they're humans. As the Threxans began retreat, Kale opened a wideband message. She spoke calmly, eyes cold. You laughed at our ruins. You called us broken. You called us weak. But we were only sleeping. Now, the galaxy will learn who we are. The tribes gathered one last time that night. Fires burned. Music played softly. Joren sat beside his brother and asked, "Is the war over?" His brother smiled. "No, this was only the beginning." From the deep stars, a message came, a signal. Human in origin. From far beyond the solar system, Alira read it aloud. "To the people of Earth, we see your fire. We are the Lost Legion, and we are coming home." The stars were quiet, but every Threxan ship had left Earth's orbit. Only the wreckage remained, burning metal, floating bodies, and drifting pieces of their mighty fleet. On the ground, the tribes of Earth stood victorious, but deep underground. In the old vaults, the real truth was about to be uncovered. Kale sat alone inside the central chamber. The black pillar in front of her no longer pulsed with warning lights. It was calm now. Ready. She closed her eyes and placed both hands on the glowing panel. "Access memory core," she said. The chamber darkened. The walls lit up with ancient footage, videos, reports, faces of people long dead. A voice spoke softly. "Memory log, Earthfall, cycle 294, access granted." A young man appeared on the wall. He wore a dark uniform and had tired eyes. His voice was slow and sad. "My name is General Ryden Holt, commander of Earth's last council. If you're seeing this, then humanity survived, somehow. And that means we were right to hide." Kale leaned forward. General Ryden continued, "We did not lose Earth to aliens. We gave it up because we feared ourselves." Outside the chamber, Alira trained young warriors in the courtyard. Her voice was sharp, her steps precise. Tureen walked over and watched. "You train them like soldiers," he said. "They must be ready," she replied. "The real war hasn't even begun." Tarin frowned. "We already defeated the Empire." Alira shook her head. "No, we destroyed their forward fleet. But the real enemy is fear. The galaxy fears humans more than anything. That's why they came, because of our power." "No," Alira whispered, "because of what we became. Before the fall." Back in the chamber, Kale watched the next recording. It showed cities in flames, not because of alien weapons, but because of human hands, riots, giant mechs fighting each other, satellites falling from the sky. "We pushed too far," Ryden said. "We created machines that could think faster than gods, weapons that could erase planets, powers no species should ever hold." Kale saw images of old human fleets, black ships with glowing red cores, moving like lightning between galaxies. "We weren't stopped by aliens," Ryden continued. "We were stopped by guilt and fear, so we buried everything and chose to forget." Kale whispered, "They didn't defeat us, we defeated ourselves." That night, Mira found a hidden door inside the northern vault. She entered a small room full of broken machines. In the center was a chair and a skeleton, still wearing a pilot suit. The walls were covered with messages scratched into metal. They turned on each other. "They were afraid of what we made. Don't wake them. Don't remember." Mira stepped back. Her voice trembled. "We buried our own gods." Above the planet, something moved. Far beyond Earth, a station hidden in deep space blinked online. A forgotten signal reached it, sent by Kale's activation of the memory core. Inside the station, machines woke up. Lights flickered. A screen glowed. AI core elision active, scanning galaxy. Alert, multiple empires detected. Weapon lock systems standing by. The station had weapons powerful enough to crack a planet, and it had just remembered who it belonged to, on Earth. Kale sat with Tareen and Alira near a fire. "The people should know the truth," Kale said. Tareen nodded slowly. "They must understand why we fell, why we hid." "But will they still fight?" Alira asked. "Or will fear return?" Kale looked into the flames. "We were broken once, but not anymore." She turned to Alira. Tell them everything. The next day, the tribes gathered in the valley. Children sat on the rocks. Elders stood quietly. Warriors waited with hands on their weapons. Kale stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. Long ago, we were not hunters and gatherers. We flew. Among stars, we built great cities. We created machines that healed, machines that thought. But we also made weapons that could end everything. Tareen continued. We lost control, not because we were weak, but because we were too strong, Myra added. So we chose to forget. We buried our past in sand and silence. That was our first fall. Kale raised her hand. But now we remember. And this time we rise with purpose, not as conquerors, but as protectors. In space, the signal from the Elysium station reached other systems. Alien empires paused out the Droxer Council, once allies of old Earth, called a meeting. The High Chancellor said, "The humans live, and they remember." The room went quiet. One voice asked, "Do we prepare for war?" Another replied, "No, we prepare for judgment." Commander Yiltek sat alone in a dark cell. After the defeat, his own people had removed him. He spoke to no one until a voice filled his mind. A soft, human voice. "You thought we were animals. Now you hear us in your dreams." He screamed, clawing at his ears. "Leave me alone." But the voice laughed. "We never left. We only waited." Back on Earth, Kale stood before the pillar again. "Activate long-range network," she said. Confirmed. Galactic relay open. A map of the galaxy appeared. Dozens of human symbols lit up old bases, vaults, cryopods, stations. Many were still dark, but a few were glowing green. Kale smiled. "We are not alone." That night, Joran sat under the stars. He looked up with wide eyes. "Do you think the other humans out there will come?" He asked his brother. "They're already coming," his brother replied, "and they'll follow Kale." In the high command room, Alira studied the new data. "There's a vault on Mars," she said, "and another on Europa." Tareen leaned over the table. "Do we wake them too?" "Yes," Alira said. "It's time." Kale gathered the people one. Last time before launching the next mission, she stood on a tall rock and spoke. "They feared our power because they never saw our heart. We were not gods, we were not monsters, we were human. And now we are both. Memory and future." And in the cold of space, another voice answered the signal. Deep in a system near the edge of the galaxy, a small pod drifted in silence. Inside it, a man opened his eyes. His skin was pale. His eyes glowed faintly blue. He looked around and whispered, "Earth, you called?" He smiled. "I remember everything." The stars burned cold over Earth, but beneath their light, a fire had begun. Kale stood on the cliff overlooking the great valley where the tribes gathered. The ground was alive with movement, men and women preparing, children training with glowing spears, and machines awakening after centuries of silence. She tightened her fists and looked to the horizon. The galaxy was watching. The Threxan Empire was broken, but not finished. Other alien races whispered in the shadows, watching Earth's rise with growing fear. Kale whispered, "This war is just the beginning." Far above in orbit, a new ship appeared, sleek, black, and silent. It was a human starfighter, long thought lost. Its wings were sharp like knives, and its engines barely made a sound. Inside, the pilot checked the controls. She was young, strong, and fearless. Her name was Rin, one of the many trained in the vaults beneath Earth. Her mission was clear: take the fight to the stars. On Earth, a council gathered. Kale, Alira, Tareen, and other leaders sat around a glowing table, shaped by ancient technology. "We cannot wait for the enemy to come," Kale said. "We must strike first." Alira nodded. The old world left many weapons across the solar system. If we gather them, we can build a fleet. Tarin added, but we must also find allies. Not all species fear us. Some remember Earth as a place of peace. Kale looked to the stars. Then we will reach out, and if they do not answer, we will show them what humans can do. In the depths of space, the Lost Legion moved. Thousands of cryopods floated in a vast ship. Inside, humans slept, frozen in time, waiting for their return. One pod hissed open. A man awoke. His hair was silver, his eyes sharp. He looked at the stars and smiled. It is time. Back on Earth, Rin's ship soared through the black sky. She crossed the asteroid belt and headed to Mars. Ancient cities lay buried beneath its red dust. Rin's mission was to find the Mars Vault, one of the few places still holding old-world secrets. She landed near a broken tower. Half buried in sand. Inside, she found machines waiting. Lights flickered on as the vault powered up. A voice spoke. "Welcome, Earthborn. Access granted." Rin smiled. "I'm ready." Meanwhile, Kale led a strike team to a hidden base on Europa, beneath thick ice. The base was dark and cold, but alive. Robotic arms moved, assembling weapons. Kale walked through the corridors, feeling the power of the old world. "This is only the start," she said. "We will take the fight to the stars." Back in space, the galaxy was watching closely. The Droxer Council debated in secret. "We cannot allow humans to rise again," the High Chancellor said. "They are dangerous." But some argued differently. "A new power may bring balance," one voice said. "We must offer peace, or face destruction." On Earth, Kale called a meeting with ambassadors from other worlds. The meeting was tense. Aliens looked down on humans, still thinking them primitive. Kale stood tall. "You called us weak, you called us extinct, but we are here. Stronger than ever." One alien whispered, "They think they are gods." Kale smiled. "We do not think, we know." That night, the sky was alive with light. Rockets launched from Earth's surface, carrying weapons and pilots into orbit. Rin's fleet grew. She led a squadron toward the Threxan border. "Remember," she said, "we fight not just for Earth, but for all who believe in freedom." In a hidden base, Alira trained new warriors. Her voice was firm. "The galaxy will not bow to us easily. They fear our strength. They fear our will." A soldier asked, "Will they ever accept us?" Alira looked out at the stars. "Maybe, but if not, we will make them." Meanwhile, deep in the Threxan Empire, rumors spread of Earth's new power. Leaders whispered about the gods of Earth. They sent spies and assassins, but every attempt failed. The humans were ready. Kale stood on the bridge of the new Earth flagship, a massive ship built from old and new technology. She watched the stars. "We are no longer hidden," she said. "We are the future." Suddenly, alarms sounded. The ship shook. Enemy fighters appeared on the radar. Rin's squadron was under attack. She gritted her teeth. "Hold formation. Protect the flagship." The battle began. Lasers cut through space. Ships exploded in bright fireballs. But the humans fought with skill and courage. Rin's ship weaved through enemy fire, striking with precision. The flagship's cannons roared. Kale shouted orders. After hours of battle, the enemy retreated. Rin's squadron returned to the flagship, tired but victorious. Kale smiled. "This is only the beginning." In the days that followed, humans took more planets. They freed old allies. They built new cities in the stars. But enemies remained. The war was far from over. On a distant planet, a new threat watched. Dark ships gathered. A voice spoke, deep and cold. "The humans have returned. They think they are gods. We will show them their place." Back on Earth, Kale gathered her people. "We have won battles," she said. "But the war is not over. We must be ready." Tarin nodded. "Our enemies will come, but we will stand." Kale raised her hand. "For Earth, for the future, for all humanity." The stars shone bright over a new dawn, a dawn of war. A dawn of hope, a dawn where humans were no longer primitive, they were gods. The stars flickered cold and distant. The vast expanse of space seemed calm, but the Threxan Empire was burning from inside. Commander Yiltuk was no longer free. Captured and thrown into a dark cell on Earth, his pride shattered. The mighty Empire's grip on the galaxy was weakening every day. The great warships that once ruled star lanes were falling, one by one. The humans had not only survived, they were winning. On Earth, Kale stood on the deck of the flagship Elysium. She looked to the stars, thinking about everything they had lost and everything they were about to reclaim. "Today," she said, "we end the Empire's reign." Alira stood beside her. "Their forces are scattered, their leaders weak." Tareen added, "But they still have power. We must be careful." Kale nodded. "We will be." Deep in the heart of the galaxy, the Threxan capital burned. The great city world, once shining with lights and towers, was now dark and broken. Alien armies fought in the streets. Threxan citizens ran in fear. The High Chancellor called a meeting. "We must strike Earth," he said. "If we lose Earth, we lose everything." Meanwhile, Earth's fleets prepared. Rin led a massive armada. Hundreds of ships, old and new. They sailed through the stars, moving toward the heart of the Empire. "We fight for our homes," Kale told the pilots. "For our families. For freedom." As the humans advanced, Threxan forces gathered to defend their home. The final battle was near. The two fleets met near a dying star. The sky exploded with light. Cannons fired. Missiles raced. Ships clashed. Kale's flagship Elysium led the charge. In the chaos, Cal piloted her fighter with skill. She dodged plasma blasts and returned fire. Beside her, Rin's squadron moved like shadows, striking enemy ships and saving allies. "Hold the line," Kale shouted. The battle was long and fierce. Many ships were lost, but humans fought harder. Their weapons were powerful. Their will was stronger. Deep inside the Empire's capital, sabotage struck. Alira and a team of warriors infiltrated the enemy's command center. They disabled the power core. Darkness spread through the city. Without power, the Empire's defenses failed. The humans seized the moment. They stormed the capital world. Commander Yiltuk was freed from his cell. He stood before Kale. His face was proud but broken. "You have won," he said. Kale looked at him. "We fight not for hate," she said, "but for peace." The Empire fell. The galaxy changed forever. Back on Earth, celebrations rang through the night. The tribes had become a nation. Kale and Alira stood before the people. "We have fought hard," Kale said, "but this is only the beginning." Far away, in the dark reaches of space, a new threat stirred. A shadow moved. A voice whispered, "The gods have fallen." But the darkness never dies. The stars were no longer silent. Where once Earth was forgotten, a broken, ruined world, now it stood as the heart of a rising force. The Threxan Empire had fallen. Its warships shattered, its leaders gone. But peace had not come yet, because now the galaxy feared something greater. Humanity. Kale stood at the top of the sky tower, the new command center rising from Earth's deserts. Below her, cities had returned. Giant machines walked the land, building homes, power stations, and launch pads. Earth was no longer silent. It was alive again, but Kale's heart was heavy. The war had ended. But something darker was coming. Alira entered the tower. "They're waiting," she said. Kale turned. "Has the council arrived?" "Yes, Droxer, Zalari, Morlin. Even the silent ones from the edge systems." Kale took a breath. "Then let's show them who we are now." In a massive hall built with steel and stone, leaders from dozens of alien species sat in silence. They had come not as rulers, but as guests. Kale walked to the center. Her armor shimmered with silver. Her voice was calm but powerful. We were forgotten, she began. You called us primitive, weak, lost. She paused, then raised her head. But we were only sleeping. The room was still. Taryn stood behind her and added, now we are awake. And we remember everything. Some alien leaders whispered too. Each other. One Droxer stood. You destroyed the Empire. What do you want now? Revenge? Power? Kale shook her head. We want balance. Alira stepped forward. Humanity once reached too far. We broke ourselves. But this time, we rise not as conquerors. Kale looked around the room. We rise as guardians. Outside, Earth's new. Fleet hovered in orbit, not in silence, but in strength. Thousands of ships, built from old designs and new minds. A force not meant for fear, but protection. Rin walked through the halls of the Elysium Prime, now the command vessel of Earth's Galactic Force. She touched the nameplate on the wall and smiled. This ship once guarded no one, she whispered. Now it guards everyone. In the heart of the galaxy, the void moved. A signal was sent, not by humans, not by Threx ANS. It was older. Stronger. A dark force, hidden for thousands of years, watching, waiting. On Earth, Kale sat by the ancient black pillar. It had changed. Now it glowed golden. No longer filled with warnings, but with knowledge. It spoke once again. Full planetary memory restored. Final threat detected. Kale blinked. Threat? A hologram appeared, not a ship. Not an empire, but a shadow. A dark mass in space. A thing without form, without voice. Tarian stared. What is it? The pillar answered. The void swarm, enemy of all life. Purpose, consume. Alira spoke calmly. I've heard whispers. From old war files. The thing we feared even before. The Threxans. Kale stood. Then our final task is clear. Rin's fleet moved first. They flew toward the edge of known space, guided by old coordinates left by the first human council. There they found ruins, broken stations, old debris. And warnings written in every known language. Do not enter. Nothing comes back. Darkness lives here. But humans had changed. They did not run anymore. Kale gave the command. We face it now, not as victims, but as the shield of this galaxy. The final battle was not like before. There were no ships to fight, no minds to reason with, only the swarm, black mist moving like a living storm. It swallowed light. It devoured stars, but Earth's fleet stood firm. They launched weapons created long ago, the Starpiercers, the Pulse Lances, the Void Nets. One by one, the swarm screamed. Not with sound, but with pressure. Space twisted. Ship shook. Rin flew into the storm. Her voice came over the radio. For Earth. She fired the Nova bomb, and the sky lit up like a second sun. The swarm broke. Not fully, but enough. Kale gave the final command. Send the signal. All ships, full burn. Push it back. And so they did. Humans, aliens, old machines, they stood together. The galaxy fought as one. Hours later, silence returned. The stars were safe. The swarm was gone. On Earth, celebrations began. Children danced in the dust. Elders lit fires of honor. Songs were sung in every language. But Kale walked quietly into the hills. Turing found her there. It's done, he said. She nodded. It's never done. But for now we live. He smiled, and that's enough. The council returned weeks later. This time, they did not sit above. They stood beside. Kale was named protector of the galactic border. Alira became high commander of the United Fleets. Rin was honored as hero of the Void and Earth. Earth became a symbol. Not of fear, but of strength. Of hope. On a quiet night, Kale stood on the same cliff where it had all begun. She remembered the broken ships, the burning sky, the first time they heard the Threxans call them primitive. She smiled. They called us primitive, she whispered, then turned toward the stars. Now, they call us gods.